Irish guy. And lads, opinions can change. I should hope so, because I've had some revolting ones in the past. And to prove it, I'm going to go through every Premier League manager and react to old clips showing what I used to think about them. Many people will try and hide how wrong they used to be about things in the past, cover it up like an FBI state secret. But me, nah, I'm gonna sit here and rank just how much I got it wrong about every Premier League boss. Or if I even got anything wrong. Because I've sure never been wrong about Gary O'Neill. I mean, I think last night showed that even the English FA have got managers wrong. Yeah, it's an Ireland shirt. Okay, first up, let's see what I said about Mikel Arteta in the past, when he was just 1 year into the Arsenal job.
Believe in the process, believe in Arteta's vision. What vision? Is he blind? They're ninth in the goddamn league. Can we just please stop the myth that Arteta is going to get things immediately right? Just because he was Guardiola's number 2, just because he stuck out training cones and bibs in training while at Manchester City, it doesn't mean he's the next Guardiola. Arsenal, don't you dare drop your standards. Don't you dare accept mid-table mediocrity. No, I'm sorry. What sets this guy apart from his childhood friend Xabi Alonso when it comes to management?
No, why am I talking about Xabi Alonso? Please don't say something moronic about him. I just know that 2021 me is gonna make me say something like,
oh, he's another managerial dunce from the Basque region who's gonna grow up to manage Hibernian one day.
Let's not forget, that guy just recently turned down a first-team job from Borussia Mönchengladbach to remain coaching the B team at Real Sociedad. Make your mistakes in the lower league, coaching the kids, and because of this, I can already tell you, I know that in 10 years' time, Alonso's gonna be managing in Champions League semi-finals.
yes! Get in there! I predicted back when Alonso was just a junior coach, managing a bunch of children, that he would one day compete in Champions League semi-finals. Yeah, 3 years later, he's the most sought-after manager in the world. Honestly, I deserve a cookie for that.
Well, Arteta will be a chewed-up, broken, traumatized failure, forced to accept paychecks at the back arts of Qatar. And Arteta has been tactically outclassed by the likes of Scott Parker. It should tell you are going nowhere fast. Now, there's people like Julian Nagelsmann, Rafa Benitez, Massimiliano Allegri. Even Maurizio Sarri would do a better job than this.
Did I just say that Rafa Benitez would have done a better job than Arteta? I'm sorry, maybe if the year was 2008. The guy has since been sacked by both Everton and Celta Vigo, losing his job to actual Frank Lampard. Someone who's now got the credibility of Artie's wife.
But Arteta, what exactly does he do? Is this what you hounded Wenger out for? To just bring in a glorified PE teacher? Is that it? Really? Stop talking now! Because Arteta is one of the biggest up-and-coming managerial geniuses in the world, and his impact at Arsenal is amazing, as it's made him a trailblazer for rookie, inexperienced coaches going out there and landing massive Premier League jobs. I thought that Arsenal hiring him was like if they'd gone out and stolen Buvac from Klopp's pocket. Sorry, Arteta, I was so wrong. Okay then, let's see what I used to think about Unai Emery. This is from 2019, just a few weeks before his Arsenal sack. How is Unai Emery being kept in a job? How? I'll admit, when he first arrived at Arsenal, I thought, alright, this lad seems a half-decent manager. He's won 3 Europa Leagues in a row. Fair play, but no, this lad is proving day in, day out to be a walking joke of a manager.
Walking joke of a manager. I want to reach into that computer screen and rip that mop off this Gambin's head. Honestly, what is his haircut? Did he think he was auditioning for Orange is the New Black?
People used to be worried that he was the Spanish Brendan Rodgers, as if that was some sort of insult. That fella is not even the Spanish Steve Bruce.
Not even the Spanish Steve Bruce. The only comparison you could possibly make for both managers is that they've both now managed Aston Villa. Yeah, Emery has since taken the club into the Champions League where they've beaten Bayern Munich. Bruised whilst Villa boss had cabbages chucked at his face. And I think we all know that vegetables are that man's mortal enemy.
This man is proving to be an absolutely hideous manager. I'm not advocating that you should want your team to lose. Absolutely not. But in some cases, maybe it's necessary. Instead of the same fraud being bailed out tirelessly every goddamn week, maybe it's just better just to accept a defeat. Only to finally have your club rid of this poison of managerial ineptitude.
Necessary. I was actually saying that Emery was so useless that Arsenal fans should be actively wanting their team to lose, so the board have an excuse to fire him. I'm sorry, but this version of myself in 2019, I almost want to phone the police on myself, because that lad is not well. Would not be surprised if after filming that video, he went outside and kissed a squirrel. But lads, I remember this one. This is what I predicted for Emery when he took the Villa job.
Aston Villa will sack Unai Emery. What? Yes, he is a brilliant coach on the continent. You know, in France, Spain, European football. But he's already failed in England with Arsenal. I mean, whether it's the language barrier, the physical style of football, or the fact that he just hates fish and chips, Emery and the Premier League are just not a good fit. And when Villa are running 16th in the league by Halloween, you're damn right that an expensive Emery is going to be stuffed in a cheap taxi with 6 of cheese and replaced with, I don't know, Bruno Lage?
Bruno Lage. Bruno Lage. Look, both men might actually meet each other in the Champions League this season, but no, suggesting Villa sack Emery and replace him with the Rat of Ice Age. Nonsense. Okay, next up, this is what I thought about Thomas Frank when Brentford were embarking on their debut Premier League season.
Am I the only one who thinks there is a genuine conversation for Frank to be shoved in a fat dustbin? Maybe getting someone like Ronald Koeman, Nuno Espirito Santo, or Rafa Benitez to just go out there and grind out points. I mean, can you imagine what Sam Allardyce would do with Ivan Toney?
Oh, okay, lads, to be fair, come on. The Bees had lost 7 of their previous 8 league games. What else was I supposed to think? This was somebody who only got the Brentford job because he was just in the building at the time, with his previous role having been to, what, wipe donut crumbs off Dean Smith's face? I did not think that this man was qualified for Premier League football. Yeah, and literally the very next year after this video, he was 4-0 up against Manchester United at half-time.
Whatever Frank is doing, it's not working. You need to get rich. Ozzy, don't forget the local job centre and go and get Ronald Koeman. But Thomas Frank, he's so out of his depth.
Nonsense. I'm sorry, Tommy. I think I harshly judged you because, in fairness, you do look a bit like a depressed vampire who's just lost custody of the kids. But no, he is way better than I thought. Okay, next up, let's go back to September 2020. A very confusing time where I spent 6 months talking to my pillow. But Manchester City had lost the Premier League title to Liverpool. They'd been knocked out of the Champions League by Lyon and had now begun the new season, losing at home to Leicester City 5-2. I dread to remember what I said about Pep.
They were great and absolutely ran rings around them. But this was an absolute nightmare game for Man City. And Pep Guardiola has immediately forked out £65 million to get Ruben Diaz in for Benfica. Is he any good? Well, he better be. Because if Guardiola relies on this back four all season, he'll be sacked next summer.
First of all, can I ask, what was that beard all about whilst wearing a creepy toothpaste t-shirt? Was I trying to look like a creepy loner who stalks grannies on Facebook?
Trust me, if City limp to yet another feeble title challenge, the knives will come out. City fans will claim he's gone stale, and the owners, after all that money spent, to not even be able to dominate their own league in their own backyard, then yeah, they'll chuck him down the sink.
Lads, I think Guardiola could have literally gone around every Man City fan's house and called their mum fat, and still none of them would have wanted him sacked. This was nonsense. Okay, next one. Kieran McKenna. Here are my predictions for his championship season with Ipswich a year ago.
24th Ipswich Town. Does anybody really think the team sponsored by Ed Sheeran are going to survive the championship? And you're now in the capable hands of Kieran McKenna. That guy who used to microwave Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's lunch.
I'm sure this man did more than fetch Ollie a spoon for his petit faloo.
But I do think this Ipswich project absolutely gets flattened this season.
Gets flattened. Flattened. The only person who should be getting flattened is you.
No, but when Ipswich are rock bottom by Christmas, does an experienced 37-year-old from Fermanagh really know what to do? Really?
What do you mean, really? Yes! Yes, of course! Of course he does. He would go off to mastermind an Ipswich Town promotion again. This is arguably my worst ever prediction.
Are you actually confident being saved by an ex-Tottenham under-18s coach when he's up against long-in-the-tooth gaffers like Neil Warnock?
Was I actually trying to say that a WizKid wonder coach would be intimidated by Neil Warnock? Someone who didn't even have the stomach to see out an interim gig with Aberdeen all the way. This is like trying to say that Tom Holland, you know, literal Spider-Man, should be scared of Harold Bishop of Neighbours. Okay, up next, this is what I said about Eddie Howe when he was appointed Newcastle manager. Lads, I've bumped into this man twice in coffee shops since. Oh, this one's gonna make me sick.
I'm sorry, yes, this guy is a ball-playing, intelligent tactician, sure. But it was clear to see the man was burnt out as a manager at 40 years of age. His weakness was being allowed to spend pots of cash. He spent a combined £130 million in his final 2 seasons at Bournemouth. He tossed away a future England international like Tyrone Mings as if his armpit smelled of burnt sausage. And so, they give him a blank checkbook at Newcastle. No.
Was I actually trying to prove that Howe is a disaster in the transfer market by saying that he threw out Tyrone Mings as if that was a bad thing?
Some managers just suit one club. Look at Nigel Clough's career. Absolutely amazing job at Burton Albion, but completely flopped at Derby County and Sheffield United.
I was actually comparing Eddie Howe to Nigel Clough. I'm sorry, Eddie. I'm sorry. You should have chugged hot chocolate in my face. I would have deserved it.
I'm sorry, are you not done with measuring managers up based on how nice they are? In a relegation battle, you don't want a nice man. You want a bulletproof killer manager. That superstar in the right mind is going to want to come and play for the former Bournemouth coach. A grown man who still looks like the Milky Bar Kids.
Bruno Guimaraes, Alexander Isak, Sven Botman, Sandro Tonali, Anthony Gordon, just shut up!
Are you really going to be able to target likes of Eden Hazard and Philip Coutinho when you've got this guy sitting on the other side of the desk?
Sorry, what? This is only 3 years ago, and I was saying that Eddie Howe would not be able to entice the likes of Eden Hazard and Philip Coutinho. Hazard never scored a single league goal again after I published this video, ever again, and is now a retired meatloaf who's probably preparing to, next summer, dribble past angry Ginge at Soccer Raid. Probably not young Philly though. And Coutinho is washed up in Brazil. I'm a dope. How does anyone listen to me? Oh.
No, instead of me desperately rifling through his phone book for mostly low-key sludge like Jack Butland, Philip Billing and Nathan Ake.
Nathan Ake has literally since won the treble.
Man unapologetically wasted £20 million on board with hard-earned cash on a plastic lamppost like Dominic Solanke.
Solanke just had a 20-goal season and secured a £65 million switch to Spurs, literally tripling the money House spent on him.
While stomping a proven goal machine like Jermaine Defoe out on loan to Scotland. Honestly, do not trust Howe with this job.
Deep breaths, deep. Oh, deep breaths. Am I actually saying that Howe should not have prioritized signing Solanke over Defoe? 3 years later, Solanke is in the current England squad, whilst Defoe retired after 7 games with Sunderland. And last year, I had to listen to some awful munchkin corner him in a tunnel, telling him that he signed him on FIFA 07. Play the clip.
Then you keep playing, man. You still have 40, you know? So it is, right? When I was younger, the FIFA 2005, and I remember having you were 37 years old, you know, and you go 15 years in the future, and I thought, nah man, Jermaine Defoe's a young face, gonna be 23 forever.
Yeah,
we're at that stage now, boy.
I know.
Oh, that poor man, just next. Right, so that was about as painful to listen to as KSI's new tune, but up next, and I really am in the thick of it, well, what did I think about Nuno Espirito Santo in the past? This is actually from the same video as the Eddie Howe one.
Here's my alternative. Nuno Espirito Santo. People just seem to be ignoring Nuno because he was chewed up after 10 games at Tottenham. I think having this man in your dugout is more appealing for incoming foreign players than someone who looks like he was ripped off the set of Home Alone. This guy knows how to shore up a defense. Eddie Howe doesn't have a clue. That man is clearly allergic to clean sheets.
Howe doesn't have a clue to shore up a defense. In his first full season, Newcastle had the best defense in the league, conceding just 33 goals in 38 matches. They actually went 6 Premier League matches in a row without conceding a goal. That is like Mourinho at Chelsea vibes. I really did have donuts for brains. Right, who did I tried to ask, but who did I tip Sando to buy for Newcastle then?
Give him a fat chunk of cash in January. Allow him to drag in the likes of Connor Cody, Nelson Semedo, and Philip Coutinho.
Connor Cody, the guy who now struggles to make Leicester City's bench. Coutinho, what was my obsession with Coutinho all about? Okay lads, the first time I ever talked about Liverpool boss Arne Slot on any channel is when I predicted Feyenoord to crash and burn in the Champions League. Play the clip.
Group E, 4th Feyenoord. I know Feyenoord are reigning Dutch champions. I know their manager Arne Slot, fresh from rejecting Tottenham, is being held up as the next great tactical visionary. I just don't see progress from this group. I reckon Slot's pretty basic tactics will be ripped apart by the likes of Diego Simeone, Maurizio Sarri, and Brendan Rodgers.
Slot's pretty basic tactics.
I mean, come on. All three are so far more tactically advanced than this coaching groupie.
I said that Brendan Rodgers is more tactically advanced than this man. Slot has literally since taken Rodgers' old job and made the best ever start as a Liverpool manager. Rodgers, don't forget, he was in the only seat. Lost 6-1 to Stoke. Just horrible. You clown! Okay, up next is Steve Cooper. Someone who, whenever I talk about him, I usually wind up saying something mean, like, he looks like a character of Wallace and Gromit, if the cartoonist stuck the model in the microwave. But before Nottingham Forest victorious play a final, I was singing his praises. I remember. Watch.
I don't care if he is still waiting for his first kiss. He is a top-class coach and the next big thing.
The next big thing?
Graham Potter is the man. Heavily tipped for the England job, right? If I wasn't Irish and instead came from Preston or Ipswich, then I would sooner be wanting Steve Cooper at the wheel.
Right, interesting. I'd rather Cooper over Potter if I was English, right? Okay? What about this then? When I was predicting the championship table in 2019.
21st Swansea. Swansea City have had the summer from hell. Christ above, not only did they lose their manager after one season, with their desperately unproven Steve Cooper in charge, this season is all about steadying a ship.
Again, with that horrible haircut, I was saying the Cooper to Potter was a downgrade. I can't make sense of myself. Okay, then while we're on the subject of predicting Swansea seasons, let's see what I said the following year when they had Russell Martin in charge, shall we?
14th Swansea. Swansea are sneezing down the neck of promotion, right? Surely the next step is promotion, right? Maybe if they convince Steve Cooper to stay, but he's gone, and in his place is Russell Martin. You know, the former Norwich right back, a guy who just led MK Dons to 13th in League One. Hands up, what Swansea fan is happy with resting your promotion hopes in the hands of a 34-year-old Russell Martin?
Look, I'm not saying that I think Russell Martin is some brilliant manager or anything, but I just had to tip one of the few gaffers in the world, one of the select few people on earth who have since achieved promotion from the championship since I published this video. One of only about 10 people on earth. He literally brought Southampton up. Moving on to Chelsea boss Enzo Maresca then, and yeah, play the clip when I thought his Leicester team would stumble to 7th in the championship.
Everybody probably thinks it's a given that Leicester City will win the league, right? Well, why? Enzo Maresca could be anything as manager. He's been an assistant for Ascoli, Sevilla, West Ham, Man City. I mean, his only actual stint as an actual manager. He failed, lasting 14 games in Serie B with Parma, despite having a world champion in net. I know they say that any coach who ever fetched Pep's coffee immediately gets infected by the genius bug. Well, I just don't see enough in this Leicester squad.
Leicester and Maresca finished first. Right, this is what I thought about Ange Postecoglou when he left Celtic for Spurs. I actually remember gassing him up to an extreme extent.
Show Ange some respect. I said this appointment would be a disaster, but not for Tottenham, for Celtic.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Forecasting the doom of Celtic.
Postecoglou is similarly going to be fighting for the top 4 at Spurs, but their luck is going to run out. I just know. Once Postecoglou goes to Spurs, then Rangers under Michael Beale, who by the way has a 79% win record in charge, they are going to eat Scottish football for tea.
No, Rodgers came in and no big drama. Celtic still won the league, and Michael Beale of Rangers was very quickly sacked. And sacked again as Sunderland. They were zero threat whatsoever.
But as for Tottenham, just watch. Postecoglou is going to be class.
He's been decent. Okay, up next, this is what I said about Crystal Palace boss Oliver Glasner when he took the Sellers Park job earlier this year.
I reckon Oliver Glasner is going to be a pretty boring, wet meatloaf of a coach at Sellers Park. Look, I mean, he's not going to be horrible, like that freakish Frank de Boer experiment who was binned after a month, but I reckon Glasner will be at Palace what Claude Puel was to Leicester. Not dreadful, no, just fine. Perfectly mediocre. That will be Glasner too.
Yes! Yes! That one was actually correct. Look, this prediction was aging horribly when Glasner had that freakish new manager bounce, winning 6 out of 7 and scoring a lot of goals. But this season is the truly boring, mediocre Glasner ball that I expected. And yes, no wins in 8 games. This Olise less team is very comparable to Claude Puel's extremely forgettable Premier League reign. Okay, up next, what did I say about Brighton's Fabian Hurstler a few months ago? I wanted Fabian Hurstler to be an absolute mess of a coach. But nah, I think it'll just be another unspectacular 11. I actually agree with this sense. I don't think the Seagulls' new brand of hipster lollipop coach is going to be mercilessly exterminated in the Premier League. Nah, it'll be alright, but still a downgrade on De Zerbi. Okay, now, the big one. This is what I said about Erik Ten Hag when he took the Manchester United job.
But hiring managers from the Eredivisie, oh, it is a risk. I mean, you know the board game risk? Yeah, that is what it's like to appoint gaffers from Holland. I'm not sitting here saying that Erik Ten Hag is odds on to become the next laughingstock in Europe. I'm not going to sit here and say he's got the tactical ideology of a muddy shoe.
Why not?
This is a risk, and you can't tell me that it's not. I'm not saying Ten Hag is a bad coach. He's not. He's a very, very good one.
Is he?
Ten Hag is the Dutch Brendan Rodgers. And there's no shame in that. Ten Hag will be good. Give it 2 years, and you might also have an outside title race that goes into April. But he's just Rodgers 10 years ago. Once you inevitably sack him in October 2025, then I'm convinced you will find your club, your Prince Charming, whoever that is in 2025. Probably a Julian Nagelsmann.
Nagelsmann's still not a bad shout.
Ten Hag, trust me, he'll do a semi-decent job. You're gonna see the best style of football since Fergie. It will be okay, but he won't win a trophy.
No, the opposite is right. It's arguably the worst style of football seen since Fergie, because it simply doesn't have a style. No identity, nothing. But he has won 2 trophies. It's been mediocre, at a stretch decent at times, but he has won the silverware. Something I said he would not do. So I got this one backwards. Okay, so up next is when Burnley sacked Sean Dyche. The only video I've ever done where I devoted the whole thing to talking about Dyche, because honestly, the modern day Big Sam is about as exciting as discussing Gandalf's origin in Rings of Power.
Honestly, Harry Redknapp is going to replace Sean Dyche. I just know it.
I said that Burnley would appoint Harry Redknapp as Sean Dyche's successor. Joke's on me because they instead hired Vincent Kompany, the future Bayern Munich coach who gave them their most entertaining ever season in the history of their club with a swashbuckling championship title winning style. The king of the jungle. What?
Sean Dyche has a much better future than Burnley. Trust me. His next job, my prediction, QPR.
I said that Dyche would have a brighter future than Burnley, and so suggested QPR Redknapp's old club? What is this prediction? It makes no sense. Right now, QPR, under hipster managerial nugget Marty Cifuentes, they couldn't be anything further away from boring safe dice ball. Okay, this is what I said about Andoni Iraola a year or so ago, when I tipped him to be a future Manchester United boss.
I think Iraola is going to be one of the best managers in the world. He plays the type of football those fans want to see at Old Trafford. I think they will hire Iraola as boss. He will be the surprise appointment, but not immediately after Ten Hag. No, they'll appoint Iraola in about 4 years' time, after the next Man United boss. And lads, this is the man to finally win Manchester United their Premier League title. Trust me, like Fabregas, he's going to be another world-class great.
Maybe. Okay, finally, moving on to Julian Lopetegui now. This was from 2021 when Spurs landed Santo. But yeah, this is what I said about Tottenham being interested in Lopetegui at the time.
Then, the next in line, Julian Lopetegui, a man who was football's biggest joke in 2018. Sacked by Spain just days before the World Cup after he'd snaked his way to Real Madrid, and then he was sacked again before Halloween. Imagine telling a Tottenham fan back then that within 3 years, they'd have sacked Pochettino only to sniff around this Spanish clown. You just know how this one was going to turn out. Relegation battle by November. So Nuno Espirito Santo, it's not a disaster, it's about right.
So many of my opinions have aged truly dreadfully, but I think I'm right with this one. Lopetegui would be a dreadful fit for Spurs. This emotionless, charisma-drained vampire of a coach. He would have been one day Ramos 2.0. I'm pleased with this one. So there you have it. That is what I thought about every Premier League coach in the past. How wrong was I? Pretty wrong. But let me know in the comments what did you think. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give a like, share, subscribe. Oh, that was... Wow, those opinions were bad.